Gamers, let's talk. Alright, so you can see my phone in my hand, which always means Kuma's got notes. What could he have? Obviously, today was the Pokemon Direct release, which means we heard everything about Pokemon Generation 8! Get Poke hyped! So, what we know about Pokemon Generation 8 is that, like always, we've got two versions, okay? We've got Pokemon Shield, Pokemon Sword. Team Shield already. It sounds like the underdog. I like it. It's going to be placed in the Galar region. The Galar region is obviously very heavily inspired by the British Isles. So a lot of the aesthetics, a lot of the buildings, it all looks very British. A lot of the environments look like they were drawn from those environments. So it's going to be really cool to see what they do with that area. But we also got our three new starters. We have the fire type Scorbunny, we have the water type Sobble, and we have the grass type Grookey. Sobble looks like a little tadpole that's just starting to form its legs. It's got little dots under its eyes that look like it's crying. Its mouth is turned down, so Sobble. Scorbunny is a bunny rabbit looking thing. Obviously, it looks like it has a little bandage over its nose. That implies maybe it's kind of a rough and tumble character. It's definitely very speedy. It likes to move quick. It was moving all over the place in the trailer. And finally, Grookey looks like a little grass monkey. It has a little twig that it has in its hair up the top of its head. In the trailer, it looks like it's tapping out a rhythm on one of the rocks. So we know the three basic typings, obviously, of fire, grass, and water. Same as always. But what are the evolved typings going to be? We haven't been told that yet, so I'm already starting to speculate. Now, I've got two bases to my theory here. I've got that each of these Pokemon are based on an animal from the British Isles, from that region, and also that each of their secondary typings are going to cover the primary weakness. So this idea came from a friend of mine who said he thinks the fire type might have the electric typing because of how high energy it was running all over the place, bouncing all over the place. So if we follow that logic, what could the other types be? Well, the fire type has the electric type. That makes me think the secondary typings could be covering their primary weaknesses. Now, does this have to do anything with the animal that it could represent from the British Isles? Not necessarily. I'm pretty sure Scorbunny is going to be based off of the European hare, which during mating season will actually strike other hares or box them. So it's possible we could be looking at another firefighting type that doesn't thrill me. I think that's been done to death. The firefighting type is cool. We've gotten Blaziken, we've gotten Infernape, and those are the only two firefightings worth mentioning. Fire electric, where do we go from there? Let's go into Sobble next. So Sobble is our little water type, and it looks like a little barely developed tadpole. So I started thinking, okay, frog, toad maybe. Once I landed on toad, I started thinking, okay, what kind of toads live in Europe? And easily enough, there is a species of toad called the bufo bufo, or the European toad, or just common toad, that lives in Europe. And in its skin is something called bufotoxin. And bufotoxin actually stimulates the beatings of your heart. It stimulates the muscles, quickens the rate that it pulses. Now, in smaller doses, this isn't very harmful. It's actually used in people that have cardiovascular issues to stimulate the heartbeat. But in high dosages, it can actually be fatal and has no known antivenom. So I started thinking, okay, we have our water type going to be weak against the grass type. What's going to cover your grass typing? Poison. I think Sobble is going to evolve into a Pokemon that will be a water poison type based on the European toad. This last one was the hardest one, and it's definitely the biggest stretch. So, Grookey, it definitely is based on some kind of rhythmic Pokemon, and already on sites like Bulbapedia, they're saying it could be based on the Ecuadorian squirrel monkey, and I think that's very likely going to be the route that they take with a lot of, out in Ecuador, South America, you get a lot of Latin dances that are very high energy, very rhythmic. So I definitely think that might be the way they're going. But I think to make this theory work, Grookey could instead be inspired by a species of monkey that is native to British territory. Now you might be thinking, what monkeys are native to Europe or even Britain? This isn't Africa. This isn't some Amazon jungle stuff. Where would a monkey live? Well, I had to dig, and it turns out I was saved by a technicality. So have you ever heard of Gibraltar? So Gibraltar is a little spit of land that's actually connected to Spain. And that little spit of land is actually home to a species of monkey called the Barbary macaque. 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 I'm going to say macaque because I don't like telling you about macaque. These Barbary macaques, or Barbary apes as they're called because they have tiny little tails, so some people call them Barbary apes, but monkeys have tails and apes don't, so it's weird. If we look at the Barbary macaque, the macaque came from the Atlas Mountains and traveled down into the Gibraltar area. No one's quite sure how they were introduced, whether it was natural, someone introduced them. It's kind of up for debate still. But that would help the theory of the type coverage, because that would allow Grucci to gain the rock typing, which would make it strong against its primary weakness of fire. And if you're still thinking, okay, Gibraltar, that's connected to Spain, that's not British. Gibraltar is considered a British overseas territory, so technically British land. Thus, the Barbary macaque is a British animal. Ta-da! So I know that that was a big stretch. It's kind of a weird theory. It's just something fun I thought up while I was at work today, and I had to make a video on it explaining it to all of you. So what do you think? Am I insane thinking of the type coverage and the way I thought them up? I think the strongest one would be Sobble if we're going with the idea that Scorbunny is going to be a fire electric type. All the typing kind of hinges on that. The animal typing is real big stretch when it comes to Grookey, but I really think Sobble and Scorbunny could work with it, so I don't know. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think this is my first theory video, and it's a Poke Theory video. Woohoo. I'm a PokeTuber now. No. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. GamerKulture is all over the who's. And until next time, gamers, stay cultured.